Thank you so much, first of all, for being part of this. Yeah, let's have a round of applause. So we are part of Philly Loves Bowie Week.
Me too.
Which is in its third day, fourth day, day four. Fourth year, fourth day. And all the proceeds for this Q&A go straight to Philly Loves Bowie. So can we just thank Gail and Donny for giving up their time for this. Thank you, guys. And the Ardmore, of course, who rock.
Hey, give it up!
Yeah!
So first of all, Happy New Year, guys.
Thank you. Thank you very
We
much.
made it to 2020. I'm not sure
We
how
did.
that's happened, but we're here. Did you both have a good festive period? Good New Year?
Yeah, it's good. Restful. Fun.
Restful.
All good. Yeah.
That's what you want. You weren't working, were you, Donny? You seem to be touring all of the time at the moment.
Well, I've been fortunate to be busy, but I did have some time off and actually went to Yosemite for a couple months, which was great.
Oh, I saw some pictures on your Instagram, so that was work, was it?
Well,
In
no, it
inverted
was.
commas.
I'm from California, and I left my children with my brother and my sister, and with my wife we went to Yosemite. We hiked for like 20 miles in 2 days. It was great.
Wow.
Really beautiful. I mean, it's
Yeah.
an amazing topography there and the history. So I loved it. And then it was back into the family, thing.
It's on my bucket list. I'm ashamed to admit I've never been. Can I come next year?
Yes, you're invited.
Well, listen, we're here to talk about. We'll hear from both Donny and Gail. We've got a little bit of time, and of course, then the gig is approaching rapidly already. So we'll crack on. We're here to talk about a wonderful man by the name of David Bowie. Ever heard of him?
Yeah!
So. Gail, I'll start with you. First of all, you're sort of local to this area.
I'm very much local. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
from West Philly.
Yeah!
And we have some people
Just
in
down
West
the
Philly.
road. Yeah, West Philly, not far from Upper Darby. I'm from 61st and Race. And it's funny. I was actually born just down the road at Lankenau Hospital. So this is very, very local for me, and it's always really nice to come home.
Yeah.
Love coming back home.
What does it feel like seeing the old streets? Lots of different
a lot of them have
buildings. or-
changed.
Yeah.
A lot of different
It's the way, isn't
buildings,
it?
and some have come. Some new things have come. A lot of things have gone. It's bittersweet, you
Yeah.
You want to kind of visit the old haunts, and some of them are gone. So then you try to get used to what's new. But I love the city. I'm very proud to be from Philadelphia. It has such a great music legacy, and for me, and as a little girl growing up here, it was just the best education I could have had in music. I feel so fortunate that I grew up here at a time when, live music was thriving, the radio was amazing. And the people of Philadelphia love music. I just felt that energy since I was a kid here. So it's always I just feel really nice to come back, and I've kind of lived my dream. My childhood dream here was to play music, and it's just, I can't believe it sometimes. I have to pinch myself. I really think, wow, I've come very far, and I just always am, like I said, I'm proud to say I come from Philadelphia because. It was a great place to start.
There you go. How sweet. You did, for a short time, live in London.
I did indeed.
Which, for those of you that I haven't met yet, this is my real accent. I am from that little country over there. And I believe that is where you were, was it your debut album? Around 1989, A Corporate World?
That's correct, yeah.
And that is where David Bowie, the reason we're all gelled here tonight, that's where he first heard your album, wasn't it, when he was doing Tin Machine?
Yes, apparently. Well, he said to me, when I started working with him in 1995, I think it took me about 2 years before I had the courage to ask him why he'd even employed me as a bass player, because I didn't think I was anywhere near the caliber of musician that you think of when you think of working in David Bowie's bands. I'm a self-taught musician, so I didn't take music lessons. I learned from other musicians here in Philadelphia, and just, I have a good ear. I was blessed with a gift, and I realized that because I thought, well, not everybody can play music that way.
Yeah,
but
sure.
anyway, I asked him a couple of years into working with him, like, well, you know, why did you choose me? You could have any other bass player in the world. So his answer was that he was in a hotel at some point. It probably would have been when that album came out, The Corporate World. It was on Warner Brothers and came out in the UK and Europe in 1989.
When he was in the middle of a band himself.
Yes, he was. And he said he was in a hotel and he was in London or somewhere in England. He was flipping through the channels and I came on the TV. And I, at the time, was promoting my album. So he said, I'm not sure what you do. You sang a song and then you went on the couch and you talked to the moderator or whatever. And he said, I just made a mental note. He said, I think that woman is very interesting. And when I'm doing the right project, I would love to work with her. 6 years later, he calls me on the telephone out of nowhere and just said, would I like to do the tour with him with 9 Inch Nails?
9 Inch Nails, I mean, that was your in.
And it was for the Outside album.
Yeah.
Oh, la, 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 la.
And he had just finished that album, and I think I still have a cassette of it. He sent me a cassette of the Outside album to learn the songs. I think I still have that. And that was how he saw me, and he, knowing him in retrospect after that, he was always a great researcher, and he did have a very good memory for things. Like if he saw something, or he just could remember everything from a long time, like facts, figures, names, places. He had a very good memory. So I stuck in that memory, and I'm grateful to God for that. I don't know what I was saying or what I did. I wish I could know what he saw, because I just can't imagine that I could have been that impressive for him to remember me 6 years later.
You are.
But thank you so
absolutely.
much. Thank you. So that's how it happened. Yeah.
And so Donny, around about the same time as Outside, I think just after that, actually 1997, Earthling, I believe that was your in musically to Bowie's work. Was that the first sort of...
Well, I think for me it was actually in high school. It was when Let's Dance came out, and that was just such a far-reaching record, and it reached all the way to Santa Cruz, California, of course. And I have this vivid memory of being at my high school prom and dancing to that song, and it was like our anthem, you know.
Yeah.
And then I grew up in the jazz world, and so Pat Metheny was, a hero of mine, and he collaborated with David.
This is not America.
So I was all
yeah.
over that, and I would say it wasn't until I really I worked with him that I became really aware of the depth of his discography.
Yes.
I didn't understand. And so it's been a journey for me of a lot of discovery and a lot of inspiration. Hearing the subtle influences in the different iterations of his creative imagination, and it's been just wonderful. I mean, the experience of doing Black Star in and of itself was something that I probably could have never dreamed of, but it's after that, just living in his music has inspired me to no end.
That's beautiful.
Same
Well,
for me.
we'll come to Black Star in a second. For you, yourself, was it November 2014, when you were invited to work on Sue in Season of Crime? Was that your first meeting with David back in 2014?
Yeah, I think what had happened was I worked with this composer, Maria Schneider.
Yeah.
Who's one of the great composers
Yes.
in the world.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Wonderful.
And she was preparing to record, and as she is wont to do, she goes really deep into it, and for months and months, working hours and hours on refining the arrangements. It's an orchestra, so there's 20 people or something.
Sure.
In the middle of that, we played a couple gigs, and she called me up and said, "Hey, somebody from David Bowie's camp reached out to me about doing something, and I'm not sure if I should take it on because I'm prepping for the record and stuff." And I said, I think you should consider doing this.
Yeah.
You know?
Good
and so
Something tells me this might be a good idea.
no, I mean, you know, and there was I guess they had some back and forth, and then she started to think about the project, and the drummer in her band, I don't think could make the recording period they were looking at, which was in the summer, and so I recommended Mark, you know, from who was working with me at the time,
Yeah.
and so
Great drummer, by the way.
oh, he's amazing.
Oh,
He's
amazing. Really, really.
And so we were. I was just having some back and forth with Maria, you know, about the different, just giving her feedback, you know, and then I guess then chronologically what happened was she set up a rehearsal, and it was maybe about a month out, and then she called me one day and she said, hey, say, you know, we were talking, David then was going over to her apartment, and if you guys saw the documentary the BBC made, there's an interview with her, and she talks about that. But so he was going over there, and they're working on the song, and if I'm remembering correctly, she said, you know, he was describing what he heard as the rhythmic underpinning, and I thought of you, Donny, and I played him a record of yours, and said, hey, you know, you should do something with Donny and his band. And I was like, wow. Kind of like what you had said earlier. You know, what? That's really? And then again, talked to her a week later. She said, yeah, you know, I mentioned it to him again. You know, he should really. And then, so now the rehearsal's a couple weeks away, and she calls me again and says, hey, we're going to come down and hear you guys. David and I, you know, so okay, all right.
Cool, was that Bar 55?
Bar 55.
Yeah, I've been, and it's a very small, it's a brilliant place.
It's a great place.
Have any of you guys been? You must have. Yeah. There's some of
great place, and
great place. Yeah.
So they did come, and and so I guess at that point she had said that he was interested, and he was coming to check us out, you know. So I basically didn't tell anybody except for Mark, I guess, and I just tried not to think about it. And I saw him out of the corner of my eye, but, you know, didn't want to think about it. Because there's just so many places your mind could go about what this could mean, what could happen, and all of that I felt like is going to take me outside of being in the moment, which is such a vital thing for what we do, is living in the moment.
Absolutely.
So it was that kind of experience. Then the set ended, as you know, it's such a small place. You know, so people came right up, they were gone, and then I guess it was about a week later that I walked into the rehearsal, the first workshop, which was a small group of musicians. It was Maria, Mark, myself, Jay Anderson on bass, Ryan Keberly on trombone, and David and Tony Visconti.
Wow.
You know, and and that's sort of where it started. And then you might have heard this before, but that day, I wrote down my phone number and my email address in his black book. It just seems surreal. You know, that I'm like writing, I'm writing in David Bowie's book. How crazy is this? You know? But then he sent me, the next morning he sent me kind of a test email, and then when I responded affirmatively, he emailed again, and just, you know, very succinctly, with just so much wit, so much humor, just said the nicest thing. It was kind of like, the spirit of what he said was something like, it would be my dream to record a couple songs with you and your band. You know? Wow. And I think I sat there for like an hour looking at, you know, his email was like, right? Exactly. His email was like 3 sentences. I just like stared.
Yeah, it's like gold. You're just like,
no, totally. And it's just so like so much content.
Yeah.
And again, like humor, so flat, so kind, so generous, so smart. And I was like, man.
So I think he could sense that I was nervous, but he did everything in his power to make me comfortable, and everybody else in the band as well. But especially Mike Grass and Reeves and Carlos. So I will always remember them being like, you know, they were like my.
Oh, what a team as well. I mean, can we just have a round of applause for that band?
Yes.
That's one of the greatest live acts
Yes.
I have ever had the pleasure to. What you guys absolutely nailed it live.
Yes, and my
guys
friend
were great.
Zachary Alfred. Zachary was his first time as well drumming, and I knew him from him playing in the B-52s and some other bands, and we ended up doing a lot of work together after that period, just on other people's projects as a rhythm section. I really enjoyed playing with Zach. So he was kind of new as well, and I mean, it was all of the incarnations of bands that I've been involved in. Interesting, yeah,
when we did Sue, and then David, well, he initially had sent me "'Tis a Pity She Was a Whore," and the version he sent, he made it home, and he's playing saxophone on it, and everything, actually. And that's the version that was released as the B-side.
That's all him, is it? Right.
That's all him.
Okay, yeah.
And you know, I remember hearing it, and I was just thinking, I was processing it, and I was just thinking, wow, you know, this is really interesting, and there's this sort of pointillistic relationship between the saxophone and the synthesizer on that track. Yeah. And when it came time to record that, you know, I think I initially kind of tried to map it out. It's hard to write something like that out rhythmically because it's really complex. So I just tried to just feel the spirit of it, and then when we recorded it, I tried to just kind of live in that space, because I just thought there's so much tension that he creates on that track, just between those two elements.
Yeah.
And I'm getting a little bit off subject here, but one of the most endearing memories to me of that song was that when you listen to the track on Black Star of "'Tis a Pity She Was a Whore," the one that we did, at one point you hear him go like, "Woo!" You know, and that was, and I remember that because it was the first take, and we were all playing. We were so into it. Like I was with the saxophone. You're supposed to stay relaxed when you play, and it gets harder to play fast and to play with a full sound as you tense up. And I was tense because I was it felt so emotional. And Mark dropped a drumstick because he was hitting so hard. Like we were really just over the top kind of thing. And I remember him doing that, and it was just so exciting. And we listened back, and we're all like, me and Mark were like, oh man, we were too over the top, too out of control or whatever. And David was like, nah, I love it. And so he was so into it.
You know, it actually makes the hairs on my arms stand up listening to that, because the energy just comes out. It really just helps you right there.
And then we did a couple more takes, and they were more refined, and Mark and I were more relaxed, and we played. But that was the one that he chose for that raw energy. So anyway, to circle back, I mean, he had sent me that song, and then he sent me maybe 4 or 5 other songs that I then had throughout the fall of that year. And one of them never came out. It was called Something. And then I can't remember just off the top of my head well, Lazarus was one, which was called something else at that point, and something else. So I had those, and as we got closer to January, he sent a few more tunes. And, initially I was like, oh, so should we rehearse for like a week and then record? Like, I don't know. Again, from my background in the jazz world, it's like, you're gonna record, you have a rehearsal, and then you record in 1 or 2 days, you record 8, 10 songs, whatever. So this was kind of, I wasn't really sure. So I guess we should rehearse for a few days and then record for a week. And then as it got closer, he just said, well, let's just record. So I distributed the songs. The band, the 4 of us got together and played through everything just to make sure we were cool on the structures. Because I guess my approach was, and I won't get too technical with this and bore you guys, but my approach was, I want to be as free as possible in this with him and with these songs. And for me, that if I can wrap my brain around every element of what he sent me, and I can be in that, then when it comes to recording, it's easier for me to be like, okay, let's add something, let's take something away, let's do, like, it's all easier when you're deep in it.
Yeah.
So that was like my approach. Yeah. And then we got there, and similarly to Gail's experience, he basically articulated to all of us, like, I just want you guys to play. Feel free. And I'd done all these woodwind arrangements and all this stuff. I was going to surprise him, and he's like, he was just like, basically go for whatever you're hearing.
Yeah.
So, and I've said this before, but like, basically you could not ask for a more creative environment to work in. It
Absolutely.
could not have been better.
Gave you a lot of freedom, both of you, really.
The most creative environment I think I've ever had, and of anyone I've ever worked with.
Okay.
different levels of leading things, but that was what, not only did he have a great voice or could write great songs, his talent was also being a leader. His talent was also, to me, being, he once said to me something about getting the right band together. I think maybe it was when I asked him a question about why he chose me or whatever. He said, you know, it's like a film director making a good movie. It's like if you choose the right actors, your work is keep it secret and do what he needed to do, because I know how methodically he worked and how concentrated he was when he was working on what he was doing. And I think to have too much input of sympathy or, you know, worry, or like, he just had to get shit done.
Yeah.
And what he did was miraculous, as always. Like probably one of the most brilliant pieces of art from beginning to end that his whole life was a piece of art, like from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, listen, I've got to say, it is very sad. It is very sad, even as a fan. You know, I came over to watch Lazarus that weekend. So yeah, it was a very sad time for us all. But of course, you guys, having worked and having known him as well as a friend,